The Mysterious Amber Room of Russia, from Mystery Diaries. Considered the eighth wonder of the world by many, the Amber Room was an intricately constructed golden-hued masterpiece of contemporary artistry. Designed by German baroque sculptor Andreas Schlüter and constructed by Danish amber craftsman Gottfried Wolfram, it became a glorious spectacle whose history is rife with adventure, mystery, and bloodshed. The creation, disappearance, and reconstruction of this remarkably opulent and mysterious room is unlike any other. The ornate jeweled panels, embellished with amber and gold leaf, were gifted to Tsar Peter the Great in 1716. Known as the gold of the North, amber is fossilised tree resin, and the Baltic region is said to house the largest known deposit of it. At the time, Schlüter was the chief architect of the Prussian royal court, and the use of amber for interior decoration was something completely new. Schlüter planned to adorn the walls of one of the rooms in the Charlottenburg Palace in Berlin with amber panels. It was heated and then dipped in an infusion of honey and linseed, before being worked onto panels of wood, covered in gold or silver leaf and decorated with precious jewels. Although the installation of carved amber panels is often attributed to the Russian Empire, whose hands it would eventually fall into, it was originally built for the Prussian monarchy in 1701 and housed in the Charlottenburg Palace, home to the first King of Prussia, Friedrich I. Rising conflict in Eastern Europe led to an alliance between Russia and Prussia against Sweden. This alliance was later symbolized by gifting the Amber Room to Peter the Great of Russia in 1716, who was attracted to this room's brilliance. The famous Russian leader had the room installed in the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, but later Tsarina Elizabeth ordered its transfer to the Catherine Palace in 1755. It was at this location that the room was expanded. Several other Russian, German and Italian craftsmen worked on the room in the coming years, sculpting it around its new larger surroundings. When it was completed in 1770, the room covered more than 590 square feet. The priceless piece of art dazzled and mesmerized all those who entered, its splendor more grandiose than Schlüter could have imagined. At this point, it comprised 6 tons of amber and other semi-precious stones. Historians estimate the room cost more than $300 million in today's money. The room was redesigned to fit into its new, larger space using additional amber shipped from Berlin. For the next 2 centuries, the room was admired by both Russians and the rest of the Western world, so much so, that the room, and many other historic artworks like it, became endangered by the growing totalitarian sentiment in Central Europe in the 1930s. On June 22, 1941, Adolf Hitler initiated Operation Barbarossa, which focused on the invasion of the USSR. Knowing that national treasures like the Amber Room were in great danger of being seized by Nazi officers, Soviet curators tried to have the room relocated away from the front. The amber had become so fragile in the years since its molding crumbled. Unable to remove the room from the palace, The Soviets attempted to hide it from Nazi invaders by covering it in thin wallpaper. Unfortunately, the Nazis discovered the precious amber panels and dismantled it completely, later reconstructing it in the Königsberg Castle in Germany. Hitler was well aware of the history of the Amber Room. In his eyes, the artwork was German-made and should be returned to its homeland to be enjoyed by his countrymen. The room stayed there for 2 more years safely, before being ordered by the Nazis officials to be relocated in late 1943 as the Germans were faced with losing the war. The room was successfully packaged for travel, but was never seen again. When an advancing Red Army reached the city, the Amber Room panels were supposedly hidden or spirited away. Many conspiracy theories have developed in the years since its mysterious disappearance. In early 1945, some believe the room's contents were destroyed during the Allied bombings of the area. Others say crates were placed in a submarine to convey it to safety, but the sub was attacked and sank. Ever since then, treasure hunters have been searching Poland and Germany for the Amber Room. The leading theory is that it was buried in an underground tunnel along with other Nazi loot. Several times teams have claimed to be closing in, only to be disappointed. Some of the officers investigating the case of Amber Room were mysteriously died without any clue, points the finger to conspiracies. In 1944, the Royal Air Force heavily bombed Königsberg, including its historic quarters. Artillery fire rained down on the city as the Soviets advanced towards it in 1945. These 2 events left the Castle Museum destroyed. Was the Amber Room evacuated in time or did it succumb to the bombings? As the Red Army marched into the German city, the Amber Room was nowhere to be seen. The most obvious theory is that they were indeed destroyed by the bombings and subsequent fires. In the cellar of the castle, it was purportedly discovered the burnt remains of 3 out of 4 Florentine mosaics that had been in the Amber Room. When Russian army was heading towards Königsberg, the leader of tank regiment, who was a possible eyewitness, saw some German soldiers passing through a frozen lagoon with caravans of some big boxes. His men bombed these Germans, which broke the ice of lake and all the boxes sunk into water. Saving the lives from this bombarding, the Germans started yelling that the mad Russians had sunk the precious Amber Room here right then by bombarding. After the war, once this claim was checked and the lake bottom was salvaged, which surprisingly had the relics of Carvan but no Amber Room. The game of hide and seek continued. In the years that followed, theory after theory arose. Eyewitnesses claimed to have seen the Amber Room being packaged up and placed on board the Wilhelm Gustloff, a German transport ship, which was subsequently sunk in January 1945 by a Soviet submarine. Its wreckage, however, has been dived many times and the Amber Room had never been discovered there. But mysteriously a big hole is found at the cargo section, as if somebody took the pain to cut the ship walls and took away the Amber Room artifacts to the shore. The KGB conducted thorough investigations around Königsberg, leading many to believe the artwork lay hidden under the city in its labyrinth of tunnels and chambers. Again, nothing has ever been found there. Other claims place the room in old salt mines on the Czech border. Many artifacts were discovered there, but not the amber room. During World War II, Adolf Hitler's Nazis stole some 600,000 pieces of art from across Europe. By the end of the war, billions of pounds worth of artwork had been scattered to the four winds. The Nazi looting had been on an industrial scale. Whilst some pieces of stolen art have been returned to their rightful owners, many are still missing, including the priceless collection of stunning amber panels, the Amber Room, perhaps the most valuable items ever looted by the fascist regime. In 1979, the Soviet government ordered a replica of the room. The original has been replaced but not forgotten. Thankfully, you can visit a reconstruction of the original room, based on its Prussian specifications, at the Tsar Peter State Museum today. The amber was provided by the state government and only salaries were to be paid from fund. The reconstruction was a massive undertaking, costing about $11 million and taking 24 years to complete. Its opening in 2003 marked the 300-year anniversary of St. Petersburg. Many still believe the hunt for Amber Room, the world's greatest lost treasure, is far from over. Thanks for watching, friends, and see you in the next video.